Hey everybody, it's Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. It's great to be with you all today. Happy Thursday to you. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I hope you get to spend it with the ladies in your life that you love. Dads, take a second, write a note to your girls and wish them a happy Valentine's, or your bride. Do something to celebrate them. You say, I don't have any money. Write them a note. Do something but celebrate Valentine's tomorrow. Well, I don't like Valentine's. It's a Hallmark holiday. I don't care who came up with the holiday. It's a time when we honor the women in our life and tell them how much we love them and how special they are. So do that if you would. Couple of things. On Monday's show, dropping at noon Eastern, we are going to have a very, very special guest. You are not going to want to miss this. A current Raider starter, great player, is going to join us on Monday. We're going to talk about Pete Carroll. We're going to talk about the coaching staff, about the fans, about their personal life. What does it mean to be a Raider to them? So much. We're going to take you inside the locker room. You're going to learn some good stuff. Just really good stuff about your Raiders, about this Raider, about the organization. You're going to learn, a lot about Tom Brady, Mark Davis, just the direction of the team. I think you're going to really love it. Don't miss it. Monday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. A big, big podcast coming. You're going to love it. Today, we're going to answer a lot of email, but I also am going to read for you an email of a very successful NFL offensive coordinator sent to me. I'm obviously not going to use their name, but I'm going to read it to you. Phenomenal email. And I think you're going to really love it. So don't forget Monday, and let's get into the email. The first comes to us from Daryl Booman in Oxfordshire, UK. Hi, Hondo. I'd love to hear your insight on developments in free agency with Debo Samuel now being told to seek a trade. Should we go for him? Well, I think he's certainly interesting. It would all depend on the cost, but you already have Jacoby Myers, who's a WR1. So you've already got Trey Tucker, who's the speedster, DJ Turner, who is an excellent route runner. I think the Raiders have a lot there. I don't know they need to invest that when they've already got Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. And you never know what you're going to bring in to that locker room. So again, cost is going to be there, everything else, but I would certainly be trepidatious if it were me. The next one shows from Cody Staley in Ada, Ohio. Hondo, watching what the Eagles defensive line just did to the Chiefs with a four-man rush, what do you think about the Raiders going after Myles Garrett, even if that would mean giving up the sixth pick in the draft? Could you imagine Max, Miles, Christian, Adam Butler? Look out. Thanks, Cody. I don't know that I would give up a sixth for Miles because he wants out. Uh, yeah, I don't think that I would give up a six, but I would certainly trade for him if he's available. You just don't have enough of those. I mean, you can make an argument for the sixth. I don't know that I would give that up. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying I don't know that I would. But man, you're getting a proven player, a guy that all he wants to do is win. Man, I'm going to talk myself into it. Uh, again, I don't know that I would. I'd have to think that through some more, but man, I think he'd be a great addition to the Raiders. A great one. A great one. Next one comes to us from Craig K. Hey, Hondo, longtime Raider fan. Why does it seem like the Raiders feel they need to go out and get a QB? AOC is a good quarterback. I feel like he's not getting any respect. Our offensive line was the problem, in my opinion. AOC did everything that was asked of him under consistent pressure, in my opinion. Under Chip Kelly, he could be a star. What are your thoughts? Okay, here are my thoughts, and they've not changed. I don't believe we've seen enough from Aiden O'Connell to say he's a QB1. I also don't think you've seen enough to say he isn't, but you have seen enough to know you don't know that you have an answer at quarterback. So I am all in on keeping Aiden, but I'm all in on trading or signing a free agent and drafting a guy, and you just let him compete. Your coaching is going to be much better. So he certainly would have the opportunity. I'm not saying get rid of him, but I'm also saying you keep accumulating quarterbacks till you know you're set. That's what I think on that one. Next comes to us from Zach G in Reno/Sparks, Nevada. Uncle Hondo, if a player such as Myles Garrett wants a trade to happen, do teams go to the Browns with cheaper offers knowing Myles doesn't want to play for them anymore? Or does it not affect his trade value? Great question there. So here's what happens. Yes, teams will lower their value. But the problem is if there's a team that desperately wants him, that's part of why I wouldn't be willing to give up a 6 because he wants out and everyone knows it. Would I offer my first pick in the second round? In a heartbeat. Heartbeat. I would. I wouldn't even think twice about it. But they know he wants out. So then it becomes if there's 4 or 5 people lowballing, somebody make him in and offer, make her a bigger offer, make them a bigger offer. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Uncle Hondo, have you communicated with Tom Telesco since he got fired? How's he doing? Michael A. I have. Those are private, communication. So I'm not going to talk about it, but I can tell you he's doing very well. Next comes to us from Jason G. Hondo, my name is Jason. I've been a fan since I could first remember, despite growing up in St. Oler in cowboy country. I'm 47. It's been rough. Why does it seem most fans and beat writers, etc., think our current QBs are garbage and seem to blame them for the last year with no consideration that it could also be mostly Getsy's fault? Well, first of all, I take exception with that. I am a beat writer, and I was very much blamed Getsy, so much to the point that I irritated some beat writers and some within the organization, not in the locker room, but some within the organization. I don't think our coverage would prove what you say truthful. That being said, there are a lot of people that think the Raiders quarterbacks are garbage. I don't expect Gardner to be here next year. That's no secret. I think he and Aiden both went backwards under Getsy. I think it hurt them both. And I've already told you what I think of Aiden. I would let Gardner go and keep looking. Again, I would trade. I would first try to trade. There's a couple guys that I would try to trade for. If I couldn't get a trade, then I would go look at free agency, and then obviously also the the uh, the draft. So I can't control what other people think. I can't control. I can't control what other beat writers say. But I believe the Raiders need to accumulate at least 2 new quarterbacks and let everybody compete. The next one comes to us from uh, Chris L. in Ontario, California. Looking back at the hiring decisions of McDaniel and Ziegler, it's evident that they were strong selections by Mark in the building as a foundational staff and securing key players. It is exceptionally rare for a coach to retain their position through regime change, yet Graham and McMahon have successfully navigated two transitions. Even more notably, the strength staff originally brought in by Gruden has remained intact through three different. I'm going to address that real quick. I expect there to be changes in the strength staff. It's often said that at any given time, there are only 3 to 5 elite offensive line coaches in the league. As the hiring cycle intensifies, Pete and Spinetech find themselves in a highly competitive battle. All right, I don't know how this one got in there because obviously they found an offensive line coach and they kept Joe Philbin. But your point is well documented when you look at the fact that Patrick Graham is still here and Tom McMahon. That's a very, very big deal. And Robbie Leonard is still here. That's a very, very big deal. I think it's also important to take a moment and to look at Luke Steckel still here. He survived, the tight end coach. But yeah, you're right. It is difficult, and line coaches like a Robbie Leonard or an offensive line coach that's very good are worth their weight in gold. Hondo, this is from Michael B. in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hondo, hi, hope you're well. With the PG coming back, would the Raiders pick PG to be the successor for head coach when Pete's contract's up? Thank you, Michael B. First of all, we don't know that. Number one. Number two, we don't, when Pete's contract's up, I've been talking about it in other podcasts. Pete's talking to other people and coaching like that coach that he's going to get that renewed. I don't think they're thinking 3 years from now. Sure, I think they've got, okay, he's 73, so at any time he could hang up the cleats or the whistle. So I don't think they would be shocked, but I think everybody wants it to succeed and see him here more than 3 years. Next comes from Mike C. in Mexico City, Mexico. Dear Hondo, winning is important. Just win works for me, but a rebirth of commitment to excellence is the thing that moves the iconic franchise. Al left the legacy to his son. He has grown a ton, but he has a heavy chip on his back. I think bringing Tom and the new ownership is getting them in an excellent position. In Mexico, there is a big debate on who is the best soccer player in history, Pele, uh, Diego Maradona, Messi, or Cristiano, but they all play different games in different ages. The game has changed so much that the greats of yesterday, who had not had a chance to compete with today's standards, thank you for the opportunity and patience with your knowledge. No question there. Gonna have to get on my staff. Don't know how that got in a question and answer period. I apologize about that one. The next one comes from Christy W. in Sacramento, California. Hondo, I love your coverage of my Raiders. I read everything you and your team write and report. I have a question. Your Twitter says that a retweet tweet is not an endorsement, and you and your team bring us what others think as well as how as what you think as well as others as well. How do you handle it when you get ripped for something you retweet or comment on, even if you make it clear you disagree, and they blame you? Christy W. in Sacramento. First of all, I'm not going to get mad at people who don't know how to read. Okay, I'll give you an example. One of our reporters did a report recently um, about should the Raiders reunite with Derek Carr. Now, let me make this clear. I do not in any way think that's even remotely a good idea. I don't even remotely think that's even close to a good idea. I think it was good for Derek to get away from the Raiders. It was good for the Raiders to get away from Derek. Okay. But he had a salient point. And so he wrote it. I'm his boss. I let him write it. And of course, I'm going to retweet it. It's an interesting, I disagree with him. We have gotten to a place in our society, I don't care if it's political, I don't care what it is, where if somebody says something you disagree with, we just got to destroy them. That is the dumbest thing. And people who are that way literally are just ignorant. I read things all the time I disagree with because I want to be knowledgeable. Because if what if I read something I disagree with, but I'm open-minded and I change my opinion? I knew a guy growing up who grew up in a very, very strict religious family. I mean, strict. And so much so that he didn't even want anything that didn't fit his religious paradigm. Couldn't listen to anybody, couldn't pay attention. So years later, he's in a position and he had to hear some things and it went against his faith, but he was ignorant and he completely crumbled. I want you to know something. I have people in my life who I love dearly who we disagree on a lot of things. We disagree on offenses that we like, defenses that we like, our faith. We disagree on politics. We disagree on a lot of things. I'm not getting rid of those people. This last Thanksgiving, I heard of a family where the Trump supporters didn't want to have Thanksgiving with the Kamala supporters, and the Kamala supporters didn't want to have Thanksgiving with the Trump supporters. If you can't be around people you disagree with, or you can't hear somebody have an alternate opinion and without attacking them, you're the ignorant person. So why would I let somebody who's ignorant get under my skin? I just block. If it gets personal, I just block them. I don't care. Don't care. It's irrelevant to me. And I'll give you another one. So there was a report where people talked about Aaron Rodgers potentially being a target for the Raiders. Do I think that's a good idea? Absolutely not. But it was still reported by a legitimate journalist with connections in the National Football League. And that's what we do. We report on that stuff. We're not out reporting on what's being said at a fan site or an opinion site. But if a legitimate news agency reports something, we're going to talk about it, even if we disagree. And that's why we're so successful. There are people that absolutely hate Hondo. You're stupid. You're so dumb. I'll give you another one. We had a great piece a couple weeks ago and gave the report from a legitimate news agency and then 3 paragraphs of why we thought it was a bad idea. And someone on Twitter, it's just clickbait. You're worthless. Okay, well, first of all, maybe I am, but I'm not to my family. I'm not to Christ. And if you would have just simply read it, we didn't agree. But what happens is you're not better off as a person when you're not informed of what other people believe. There are a lot of people in this fan base that would love Derek Carr to come back. Are you just going to throw all of them away? They're still your Raider Nation family. You can disagree, but they're still your family. You still love them. And so, you know what? I appreciate it, Christine. It really doesn't bother me. I just let it go. I don't care. I literally don't care. I'll give you an example. So on yesterday's podcast, I talked about this is the best staff that I have ever seen the Raiders have. And somebody sent me a message on social media. You said that before. I have. Absolutely, I have. Because I've been here 6 years now, and there's been a lot of different staffs. And when Josh McDaniels got here with Dave Ziegler, I thought he had a tremendous staff. I think this one's the best, but it didn't mean at that time it wasn't the best that they ever had. Okay. There were people who got after me for reporting 100% truthfully on Ben Johnson. 100% truthfully. I literally don't care. I know who my sources were. My bosses knew who my sources were, and I'm still employed, and I'm very happy. I gave you guys the best information along with so many national people did as well. And I'm okay with that. I said the deal wasn't done. They couldn't offer him a contract. They kinda knew the parameters it was gonna be, and I told you what those parameters were. And I said, "There's a chance that if they don't get with him right away, someone else is gonna have a chance to Tomlin him." But no, I am fully accountable for what I say, and if I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong, and, but I don't let it bother me, Christine. I really sincerely don't, but I appreciate your kind words. The next one comes to us, uh, this is from a highly successful NFL offensive coordinator that's a good friend. Let me read this to you. Hondo, don't think outside the box, create your own box. Here's a thought for you since there really are no legitimate first round quarterbacks in this year's draft. Now, this is his opinion. All of your four final playoff teams have QBs who can move. This no longer is a league where Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, or Peyton Manning are going to dominate because of pass rush, fire zone schemes, and other exotic defensive concepts are putting too much pressure on the pocket. So you have to have a quarterback who can move, not like AOC and the Raiders. If I had to say, I would go after Fields of the Steelers as a free agent, incorporate an aggressive zone read run game mixed with an RPO package similar to the Eagles and the Chiefs, and have a selective drop back pass offense. Fields needs coaching and work on his accuracy and targeting, and needs to be able to modify his throws according to the trajectory required, not line drive every ball. Also, there are QBs who are not true first round picks who are draft eligible who have experience running that kind of offensive scheme. But the big question is, can these old coaches learn, modify, and adjust to the new trends in the game, or are they going to continue to try to hammer square pegs into round holes and to Xerox their old playbooks and not expect different results? That's a fascinating email from a highly successful NFL offensive coordinator about the Raiders. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of that? Fascinating to me. Last email is from Steven in San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Hondo. Are you surprised that he took this job considering the current trend of coaches avoiding head coaching positions where the quarterback situation is uncertain or the chances of drafting a prospect are slim? I admire your insight. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, Hondo. Go Raiders, Steven. No, I'm not surprised Pete Carroll took the job. Wasn't like they were loaded with quarterbacks at Seattle when he went there. And I think the Raiders shared him a plan, and he understands they're going to get him somebody, and he trusts his ability to coach him up. So, no, that does not surprise me in the least bit. Not at all. And I think Pete Carroll is going to do a great job. He's got to change a culture, and I think he's going to do a good job. I thought that email on the from the offensive coordinator was very insightful. I'd love to hear from you. Let you know what you I want to hear what you think about it as well. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget Monday, big show. We got big shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But when you're going to have a current Raider on, that's an even bigger show, and that'll be Monday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. So from all of us to all of you, God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful day and a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.